Daniel Ricciardo might not be done in F1 just yet. There were some somber scenes after the Singapore Grand Prix when Daniel Ricciardo spoke to F1 TV about the prospect of it being his last race. Many conclusions were drawn, and there is much speculation about what will eventually happen with the 8-time winner from Australia. Let's dive into what has been said by the people involved and what I think might happen. One thing is for sure, we haven't seen the end of the Honeybadger just yet. I'm Wimbo. Here's 3 seconds to leave a like. So, what's going on with Danny Ric? It all started with Ralf Schumacher declaring Daniel Ricciardo was to be replaced after the Singapore Grand Prix. He said there was a timeline or a deadline to let Liam Lawson race this season, or they might lose him to another team. I thought the New Zealander had to be offered a contract for 2025, or else he'd be free to look at another seat. The way things look now is that they have this 6-race deal with him, or they just want to see him race before deciding on him. At this stage, it's not even clear who will be in either of the Red Bull team seats, as Perez's seat is also still uncertain. In any case, Ralf Schumacher said this about it on Sky Germany involving Daniel Ricciardo. Red Bull Racing is a junior team. That is also what the company management has always said and has supported. We will rely on our young drivers. And that is why it makes sense. It's a shame for Daniel because we'll be missing a driver who's super nice, always has a smile, and who you like to meet in the paddock. Helmut Marko reacted to the German 6-time Grand Prix winner, saying that the decision will be made after the Singapore Grand Prix. He also added a little bit of Helmut Marko humor to his comment. He said, Ralf Schumacher has almost declared himself as our spokesperson, but I can't confirm anything official yet. Yeah, Marko is still pretty sharp, but I would be annoyed too if people kept talking about stuff that isn't made official yet. I think it was Ralf Schumacher that made this weekend so awkward. I don't think this plan to review Ricciardo was to come out yet. It seems to be very hard to keep secrets in that Formula 1 sewing circle. There's so much yapping going on. Unbelievable. This news being all over the place during the event made it very hard for Daniel Ricciardo and everyone at Red Bull and V-Corp to go about their weekend as normal. This showed in the most heart-wrenching Ricciardo video I've ever seen. So what did Daniel Ricciardo say? After the Singapore race, he spoke with Lawrence Barretto from F1 TV. He talked about how tough the race was after having to start from P16. They hoped for a safety car, which we haven't seen for 8 races now, I believe. He said that because they weren't in any position to finish anywhere decent, they pitted him to get the fastest lap, which helped Max Verstappen in his title battle against Norris. He was hoping there was a Christmas present in there somewhere by the time Abu Dhabi arrives. He said he was aware that this race could be it for him, and a lot of emotions were running through his mind. He had to stop talking a few times to get a hold of his emotions. And honestly, I nearly teared up myself. He said he wanted to stay in the car just a little bit longer to savor the moment. I'm not crying. You're crying. So yeah, there's no way of denying it. He's out. So this made me think about how I felt about this, and although I wish it would have gone better for him, I think he will be okay eventually. He had an amazing career, entertaining so many people, made the sport great for a whole new audience, especially in the US. I loved him immediately when he and my favorite driver Max Verstappen raced together in 2016, 2017 and 2018. Max took him out a few times, but they are still really good friends. Those two have hours and hours of fun content on all the different platforms, and I always stop scrolling if I see a new reel of them. Yeah. It would have been amazing to see them drive at Red Bull together again. However, there comes a time when you must face the facts. He wasn't terrible at RB, but he wasn't amazing either. So a promotion to Red Bull wasn't on the cards. He said, I also have to acknowledge why I came back after the McLaren stint. I always said, I don't want to come back just to be on the grid. I want to try and fight back at the front and get back with Red Bull. He said himself that he wondered if he'd want to stick around in the lower midfield without the prospect of more. We almost forgot that he came to Red Bull as a reserve driver after McLaren had paid him off to not drive anymore. Of course, we all got excited when he was replacing Nick de Vries, although that was hard on the Dutchman as well. But hey, that's F1 for you, especially at Red Bull. And then came the injury, and Liam Lawson did a hell of a job. But still, he was granted the seat, and Lawson had to wait, which was hard on him too. The hope of seeing the old late-breaking Daniel Ricciardo back and his marketability granted him that seat, which isn't really a solid foundation to build on, and that showed eventually. So now he's out again, back to square one. And I think that's where he'll be again. What future does Daniel Ricciardo have? I see him back in the sim and at the races as a reserve, while Lawson does the racing. That way, Daniel can still be part of the whole circus. David Coulthard has a wonderful cushy job as a driver for showruns, and I can see Daniel co-host the podcast with Nicola Hume on the Red Bull channel too. This is what Ricciardo did right after the McLaren stint. Not the podcast, the promotion thing. We'll still get interviews with him, and maybe he can present along Will Buxton at F1 TV and entertain us there. The options for his sparkling personality are endless. He could take the lead in the next Formula 1 movie. Much better than boring old Brad Pitt. I don't see him racing in another series, with the risk of not shining there either. He's very honest about his fear of driving in IndyCar. I don't know much about IndyCar, but are more people getting injured there or something? He is 35 years old, which isn't that old, but maybe too old to learn a whole new style. I definitely don't want him to disappear into oblivion. He's too much fun for that to happen. Maybe he can go to Sky Sports F1 and make them a little less biased towards British drivers. I always love it when they have Villeneuve or Rosberg on. These guys know the ins and outs and speak freely now. Certainly better than Ted Kravitz. So yeah, I don't think we've seen the last of Ricciardo yet. And at some point, it is time to give another young driver a shot. Imagine if Toro Rosso hadn't let Buemi go to create a space for Ricciardo. It's the natural way of F1. Now, I do agree that the way this has been handled could have been done much better. I'm sure it all has to do with Helmut Marko not having much of a say anymore, and Christian Horner thinking of the bottom line more. Ralf Schumacher probably outed them earlier than he outed himself. But this is where we are now. Ricciardo can do something else. We'll have another fresh face on the grid alongside of Behrman, Antonelli and Doohan, and with a bit of luck we'll have Colapinto at Stake F1 and we'll have a blast together. Subscribe if you want to have a blast with me. Take care now. Doei doei.